Hi everybody, this is Kevin and welcome back to another manga review. And once again we're going to be taking a look at Fairy Tail with Volume 6 from Hiro Mashima, which sees the end of the Galuna Island arc, which has delved into Gray's backstory and how he learned to use ice magic. And essentially, a long time ago when he was a little boy, this demon from the Book of Zerif, Deliora, came to his village and destroyed the entire village, murdering many people, including his mother and father, until he was taken in by this wizard, Or, who actually had Leon under her tutelage as well, and she taught the two young boys how to use ice magic. And, well, one day Gray heard that Deliora was in another nearby village, so he sought his revenge, but being a little boy, he was no match for the beast, and Or had to step in and actually sacrifice her life by using this spell called Ice Shell, which essentially turns her entire being into ice, encasing the demon in ice. And that sort of stopped the futures of both of the young students, because Leon wanted to surpass her eventually in skill, and the fact that she sacrificed her life, he was never able to. And then that sent Gray on the path to find the Guild of Fairy Tail, and that's where he continued his training and his life. So, many volumes ago, I think it was volume 4, Natsu, Happy, Lucy, they all took on this S-Class quest to rid the curse of Galuna Island. And of course, Gray tagged along, and eventually Urza made her way to the island. And it turns out that for the past 3 years, Leon, along with a few Lamia Scale Guild members, were working to melt the ice encasing Deliora. And, well, they let the demon run rampant, and there's no way they could defeat that demon. So, of course, our heroes are trying to stop them, and it turns out that Leon had learned magic with Gray back in the day, and they were buddies and now rivals. And basically, Leon knows that Or is the ice encasing Deliora, but he still wants to defrost it so that he can defeat the demon. And the two former friends are going at each other, and it ended with a cliffhanger with Gray getting stabbed in the stomach by Leon's ice blade. So we got a great cover here of all the Fairy Tail Guild members. I really like that. And it starts right away with Chapter 40, the final battle. So we're getting to the end here. Like I said, this is the end of the Galuna Island arc, and that actually starts the next arc at the end as well. So it ended with Gray revealing that Or is still alive because, well, she is the ice encasing Deliora. But Leon knows that. He's like, oh, we're going to defrost her. I'm going to defeat that demon once and for all to prove how strong I am. So also in the past few volumes, you had Natsu going one-on-one against Zuka and Toby, two Lamia Scale Guild members. And then you had Lucy go against Shelly, or was it Shelly or Sherry? I think it was Sherry. And she did pretty well. And of course, Urza came stumbling in, attacking everyone with her sword and her equipping, and no one's a match for her. So then you have this other guy, Zalti, who can actually use time magic. Essentially, Natsu had this temple turn upside down or whatever, tilted to the side so that the moonlight wouldn't shine on Deliora, and Zalti was able to use his time magic to reverse it. Essentially, you see right here how the wall's crumbling down, and then he puts it back together. This is the lost magic, the arc of time, I think he calls it, and then he vanishes, and of course Natsu's all surprised. But despite Gray being stabbed, he's bleeding all over the place, he's still fighting back against Leon. I love this scene right here. Look at their faces and just that punch. A last-ditch effort. So like I said, the two of them were former students, and, obviously they're still friendly with it. Gray likes to think that he's still friendly with them, and he was like, I was hoping to save your life, but I've reached my limit with you. And he's using all his ice powers. Look, he's got like ice bow and arrows. Look how cool this is right here. And of course, they both know how to use ice make magic. So it's interesting because it's like, you've seen with Natsu how he can absorb other people's fire to his advantage. And, these two, you would think that if they both have ice magic, they would be nullified against each other. So Gray seems to have the upper hand here. But then Leon uses this ice make snow dragon. Look at that stuff. Crazy, man. And then Natsu makes his way in here. Well, no, sorry. They're talking about Natsu. Leon is like, oh, yeah, we're going to revive Deliora. It's only a matter of time. And Gray's like, never underestimate Natsu, because he sent Natsu to stop them from reviving Deliora. And, of course, Gray to deal with his former rival there. So there's Deliora, the demon right there, encased in ice. And Zalti's about to, let the beast come through. And you have this guy, Toby, who's still there, and he's done the chant. Natsu dispatched him pretty quickly. Actually, he had like poison claws, and he stabbed himself like a complete moron. So, get ready for a final battle with Zalti here. And like I said, he has the time magic. So that really anything Natsu throws his way, he can just revert it and make the time go backwards. And it seems that you're too late. And you see Deliora slowly falling away, getting ready to come out and attack. And this is a flashback to, Gray finding his way to Fairy Tail. Aura had mentioned to him, go west to go find all various guilds, and you can learn all these other skills. And he finds Master Makarov, and he asks him about Ice Shell and if there's a way to reverse it. And he's like, well, no, boy, it's impossible. Once the caster casts Ice Shell, they essentially become Ice Shell, and it's a forbidden magic that you shouldn't use. So he's still trying to talk some sense into Leon here, and he actually mentions the fact that Leon is using one hand, whereas Or taught them to use two hands to use ice magic because it makes the ice stronger. And while you can cast it more quickly with one hand, it's not the way to do things. So you see he casts the tiger, and then Gray, using two hands and more thought to it, is able to cast the prison to lock the tiger in there. And then look at this scene right here. The ice cannon! And that's Leon's defeat right there. So, using the tutelage of Master Or, he's able to defeat his former rival. And I guess the two of them are just in shambles. I mean, Gray was stabbed in the stomach. How the hell is he still going? But he wills it, and that's just it. So, Deliora has been revived. And Gray was able to defeat Leon, but everyone else was too late. And you can see all the reactions. Urza's like, what's that sound? And Lucy's, Natsu, shut up. And Deliora's ready to go, and Gray's ready to use Ice Shell for himself. Actually, in the last volume, he was going to use Ice Shell on Leon, but Natsu stopped him because he's like, no, we're not going to give up any lives here. We're gonna win, and we're all going to survive. Look at this little printing problem we had here that got cut off. So Deliora has been revived. Just look at this beast right here. No, the time has come. So they're all making their way here to converge and finally defeat Deliora, and Natsu's trying to stop Zalti. And again, he's got the Arc of Time, the Lost Magic, and basically anything Natsu or the others do to this guy, he can just use the Arc of Time to reverse time. What a convenient magic seal to have, huh? So anything Natsu does is not enough, and basically he says we're going to control Deliora and all the other demons from the Book of Zeref, and that's how we're going to dominate the world, right? So Natsu's not having it. He's like, no, we're going to save the villagers from the island. There's nothing you can do about it. He does the Fire Dragon's Iron Punch, and he gives a pretty thematic punch right there to Zalti to send him flying. And everyone's lying on the ground. Toby's defeated, and Deliora's ready to strike, converging with Gray once and for all. And just as Deliora is ready to attack, Leon's getting ready to go out there, and he wants to be the one to strike the beast down. And they're having a flashback here of Leon and Or. Basically, like I said, his whole idea was to go stronger than Or to surpass his master. And he's going to go down to strike the beast down. And Grace slaps him back and says, I'll be the one to take out Deliora. And he does the Ice Shell position there as he's ready to cast it. And Natsu steps in the way in front of Gray, saying, no, there's no way I'm going to let you do that. No way I'm going to sacrifice your life. If you do that, I'm going down too. And that's where he says, I stopped you before. I didn't want you to die. Didn't you hear me? You can't use that magic. And just as Deliora is getting ready to attack the three men there, the arm cracks off. And the entire demon starts disintegrating, almost like a rock, just breaking down. And it collapsed. Deliora was already dead. So what happened was this was 10 years ago when Or cast Ice Shell on Deliora. And for those 10 years, the spell has been eating away at Deliora's being, slowly destroying the beast. So that when it was finally, melted from the ice, it would be defeated. And Gray thinks back to his master, I'm going to seal away your darkness. He starts crying, thank you, teacher. And they're able to stop the beast once and for all, thanks to Or's, technique that she did. Her sacrifice saved her two students' lives all these years later, even as their paths crossed, and it seemed that Leon was in a bad frame of mind. they were able to overcome it. So everyone's smiling now. Natsu's all happy. And they say here, Or's ice melted and became the water, flowed out to sea. And so Or still lived. That's what Gray said anyway. And everyone's all happy, like Lucy's back. Look at Happy's face. Happy hugging Natsu. And our heroes save the day. So this arc was great, man. I really loved Gray's backstory. I think at this point, he's definitely my favorite character, without a doubt. And as everyone's celebrating, of course, Urza comes in here. Look at her face. Look at Natsu's face. And even the two, former students, former rivals are friends yet again. And this is Lucy's narration. I have a feeling that he's right. Or will always watch over her two disciples from the sea, hoping they'll put away their grievances. And the two of them are holding each other and smiling and hopefully putting away their grievances and becoming friends. And there's Natsu and Happy. Aye! So they're all celebrating, like I said. Of course, Urza's looking at them. And they all start sweating bullets. And Lucy's like, oh yeah, we got a punishment waiting for us at home. And Urza says, well, the S-Class quest isn't over yet, right? Because the villagers are still demons. And basically they ask Leon, what the hell is the deal with the villagers all looking like demons? Delior is defeated, but the curse is still hanging around. And Leon's like, I have no idea what's even going on. I never even came in contact with the villagers. And the fact that we've been on here for 3 years and the moon drip didn't affect us, what's the deal? So basically they take a look at the moon. And also they make their way back to the village. And it turns out that the village has been restored to normal. And actually that's the work of Zalti. Zalti decided to turn the village back to normal with his Arc of Time technique. I guess he's not as bad as he appears to be. And this dude is still pissed off. Why haven't you destroyed the moon? What is going on? Destroy the moon. And so they all decide we're going to go destroy the moon finally. And Zalti's watching on and he's like, oh, Titania is truly worthy of her name. She's seen through our devices. So she decides to re-equip it to this crazy-ass armor here. And she's like, yeah, we're going to go up there and destroy the moon. So she gets like this hammer and says to Natsu, all right, dude, I'm going to basically kick you up there and you're going to destroy the moon yourself. So she does that, sends him flying up there. And it cracks this barrier that's been blocking the moon. It appears to, shatter the moon. Everyone's all shocked. No way! But it's actually a barrier, blocking the real moon. And there's this shell around it, containing all this demon moon drip energy, and also sealing away the demons' memories here, because apparently all the people on Galuna Island actually are demons, and their memory was being suppressed to make it think like they were humans, when in fact they really are demons. So, with that, what a plot twist, right? And then this dude comes back, Bobo. He was the guy who guided them there on the boat from Hargion over here, and it was this dude's the elder's son, and he's back. Everyone's rejoicing, all happy, and it's a beautiful thing. You gotta love it. And they fly up to the moon in celebration, and that's that. So then, in all the great twists, you have Zalti speaking to Seagrain. And he says, fairy tale, I hope they never get in our way. And then, Zalti starts transforming into Altir, council member Inspector Wizard. So we've seen her, she's on the council, and apparently she's been collaborating with Seagrain, also trying to revive demons from the Book of Zereth. So it appears that the Magical Council isn't as high and mighty as they appear to be, and there's actually some villains infiltrating the group. Interesting. So these guys, get a nice feast from the village, and they're making their way go home. And beautiful thing. So Urza says that we're not going to accept the payment of 7 million jewels because, well, they weren't qualified to accept the S-Class quest because they're not S-Class wizards, despite Urza being an S-Class wizard. And, they don't get paid. So they still get their key, though, and they actually make their way home on the pirate ship because Urza had whooped all these pirates into shape to getting her to sail across the sea there. And then it cuts back over to Leon and his friends here who were in Lamia Scale Guild. And, taking what Gray said to heart about joining a guild and getting real friends, he says, you guys were in a guild, right? Is it fun? So presumably these guys will go back to Lamia Scale with Leon joining the guild and becoming good guys. At least I hope, anyway. So once again, it cuts back over to the council with Seagrain and Altir, and they're talking about Deliora, and now the fact is he's a wizard saint. So he's a really high-ranking individual, and it appears, just from what's going on here, that they have devious plans after all. So they're talking about their next step and how he's going to fulfill his dream. So, and also mentioning Natsu Dragneel and the fact that he's Igneel's child. Igneal, if you remember, is the dragon who raised Natsu. So they make their way back to Magnolia, and actually Lucy was able to accept the Celestial Key. Remember when they took the quest on, they were going to get paid in Jewel and also a Celestial Key. And Happy's all pissed off. He's like, well, Lucy made out pretty good, but we didn't get anything else. Let's sell the key. Look at Lucy's face. No. So I think she has 4 or 5 of the 12 golden keys now, so she's going to get them all. She's got to catch them all, like Pokemon. And they're talking about it, and apparently it's Sagittarius, half man, half horse, a centaur, and Gray envisions him as a horseman, whereas she envisions an actual, centaur. And then Natsu is envisioning that. Like, what the fuck is that? So they make their way back to the guild and thinking about their next quest and what they're going to do. And basically, Urza's saying, well, you're going to get punishment from Master. And then you look at Natsu's face. He starts smiling. Oh, I don't want to go back there. And they make their way back to the guild. And they see, like, this shadow. And as you turn the page, it appears that the guild has been attacked. What happened to our guild? Oh, no. Who did this? And they're all upset here. I mean, naturally, this is horrible. The guild, it's just a happy-go-lucky place. Why would anyone want to attack the guild? I can see Mira Jane saying they defeated us. And this is a cover page. You can tell just by the way it's inked. Great drawing of everyone there, the main cast. And just the guild is defeated. Everyone's just sitting there. You got, they're all drinking. Not really a care in the world. And they're talking about exalting their revenge. And the Master, he's just drinking. Oh, welcome home. And then, Natsu's like, oh man, this is no time for drinking. We got to get our revenge. Well, you boys left for an S-class quest without punishment, so you're going to get punished. So he starts slapping them. And you see he punches Natsu on the head, Happy on the head, Gray on the head. And then he spanks Lucy. And Mira Jane, Master, stop that right now. And of course, Urza and Natsu, the voices of reason here. The guild's in ruins. We gotta stop whoever did this. What's going on here? And basically he says that Phantom Lord, which is a rival guild, came in and attacked. And basically, they're jealous of how well Fairy Tail is received by everybody, that they want the recognition, and so they're attacking Fairy Tail while they're at their lowest. And Natsu's like, no, we're going to retaliate. And Makarov's like, no, we're just going to ignore them. We can't really do anything because we can't have inter-guild conflicts. There's a sort of treaty behind that. Despite Phantom Lord instigating it, the Master says we can't really do that. So Lucy's on her way home. And as she goes to her house, this is like the running gag now. She goes in her house and she's like talking to herself, and then she sees everyone just sitting here. And she's like, what, too many people? What are you doing in my house? And there's just this crazy ass dialogue going on. Basically, they're like, we're gonna unwind your house. We live here now too. And Urza's like, oh, you guys stink. We're gonna bathe together just like we used to. And Lucy, what kind of relationship do you guys have? What the hell is going on? I like how, in most shonen manga and anime and stuff, a lot of the characters stay in the same clothes. I like how everyone's wardrobe sort of changes. Like now you got Urza in her pajamas. Same thing with Lucy. What is she wearing a shirt that says happy? Gray's got like the Hawaiian shirt on. I'm sure I'll take it off in a minute. And they're talking about how they can exalt their revenge. Now, Urza's giving a little backstory here. They have the Wizard Saint. Also, Makarov is a Wizard Saint himself. But Phantom Lord has a Wizard Saint who's their master, known as Josei. And he has the same magical power as Makarov. And they also have 4 S-Class members, known as the Element 4. This is interesting because I've actually read Eden Zero first. And there was a faction there called the Element 4. So, Mashima, like we all know, uses a lot of the same tropes, but it's all good. So I'm trying to think too with Fairy Tail. You have Urza, you have Loxus, Mystigan, and they mentioned Gildarts, but we haven't seen him. So they have 4 S-Class members as well. And then they also mentioned that there's also Kurogane Gajiel, the Iron Dragon Slayer. So just like Natsu is the Fire Dragon Slayer, you have the Iron Dragon Slayer to rival him. So crazy stuff. So then, this Gajiel comes in here, and your first appearance of him at Phantom Lord, he's taking out his own men there, and just showing his iron abilities. I guess he can turn his hands into beams of iron and slap them all around. And this is Master Jose, the leader of Phantom Lord. You haven't really seen his face quite yet because he's just a silhouette. And then it cuts over to all the members of Fairy Tail gathered to this tree here, and you see like these three figures on the tree, and the anger in Natsu's face. And it's Levy, Jet, and Droy, members of Fairy Tail, with the insignia of Phantom Lord drawn on them. Beaten and bruised. What a disgrace. And that anger in everyone's face here. As Makarov comes in, you see the anger in Natsu. There's Levy, unconscious. And Makarov, just furious, he breaks his staff. And he says, "This means war!" So with that, Lucy is, at the hospital checking on Levy, Jet, and Troy, seeing what's going on. And basically, she shows you how off-screen they became friends and how Levy wanted to read Lucy's book that she's writing. And Jet and Droy have a team with Levy called Team Shadow Gear, sort of like how we have Team Natsu with Natsu, Lucy, Happy, and Urza, and Gray, of course. And Lucy says, "It's unforgivable. We're going to go and seek revenge." And it cuts over here to Phantom Lord as all the guys from Phantom Lord are just drinking, being all merry. When all of a sudden the door busts open, and it's Fairy Tail and Natsu leading the charge. You got the whole gang there. You got Natsu, you got Kana, Gray, Loki, Elfman, Urza, Makarov. They're all there. Look at Happy. Even Happy's got a stick ready to fight. So Fairy Tail's ready to come lay down the law. And there's a great big battle here between the two guilds. I love it, man. So, good stuff. And even Makarov, he's coming in here. "You laid your hands on the monster's children, so don't even dream of hiding behind human law to save your lives." And Makarov's beating the shit out of everybody. "Jose, come out here and show yourself." So he was going to take on the master head on. And Lucy, a little late to the party because she was at the hospital, comes walking, going to Phantom Lord. And then this woman shows up. Juvia, the Rainmaker, steady and gentle. And she's actually a member of the Element 4. And then this other dude shows up. "Bonjour." And his name is Sol, Monsieur Sol, and he's got like a French accent. And like I said, she's a member of the Element 4, just as Sol. And she uses the water, and he uses earth magic, and they capture Lucy under the rules of Phantom Lord. After all, Juvia's duty is to bring you back alive. Lucy Heartfilia. Victory! She is captured. To be continued. So, a lot of crazy stuff going on here. And overall, very much enjoyed it. I like the whole Galuna Island arc, learning about Gray's backstory. And this Phantom Lord arc appears to be a lot of fun. And I guess Lucy has a lot to do with it because she was captured. What reason could they want her? Maybe it's just collateral or whatever. So, let's take a look in the back here because there's some extra stuff too, I believe. So, here's some fan art. And then Mashima mentions that he always wanted to do the war between the two guilds. And again, he mentions, well, I mentioned before, I haven't put any thought into what's going to happen in the future of the series. Sweat, sweat. But I got little hints here and there, and let's keep going. So, as most manga writers and artists do, they sort of just write the story on the fly, and then whatever happens, happens. And I think a lot of them know, like, their ending, but they just don't really know how they want to get there. And they just, the guys go week to week, so it's all fun. And, of course, here's the, stuff going on, and preview of Volume 7. So on the cover of Volume 7, you have the Element 4. So thank you for watching. Let me know your thought in the comments down below. Like I said, Gray is probably my favorite character at this point, but that can change. And stay tuned for my review of Volume 7 coming soon. Have a great day, everybody.